Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. And today, I thought it was only right to talk to you guys about the potential of Sarada's Mangekyou Sharingan finally making its long-awaited debut in the battle that has been set up with the awakened Shinju that are in the Sand Village. Currently, we have Jura inside of Konoha setting up a book club. Not really, but since he's already there buying books, why not? And we have Konohamaru looking at Matsuri getting a tingly feeling in his loins that has nothing to do with the Rasengan that he needs to make to kill her. And we have Sarada and Mitsuki seemingly about to ambush Ryu whenever Konohamaru makes his big move. After fans expecting Sarada to bust out her Mangekyou against Hidari, only for Sarada to not really need it during that fight, particularly once Boruto showed up. There's been a bit of trepidation by fans in terms of expectations for this fight, but this time there's room for more optimism for the Mangekyou Sharingan to finally show itself. Now, to be fully transparent, I do not subscribe to the theory that I've seen people say about Sarada being unaware that she's awakened her Mangekyou Sharingan. I don't think that this is a Kakashi situation where he didn't even realize he had a Mangekyou. I've already explained why I don't think this is the case in another video. That will be in the description box for anyone who's curious about why I strongly disagree with that line of thinking. So jumping right into it, Sarada versus Ryu and the Mangekyou Sharingan powers everyone wants to see desperately is a worthy cause of conversation for this reason. Sarada's potential battle against Ryu, the awakened Shinju made from Shinki's chakra, it is rife with narrative depth, symbolism, and thematic resonance. Let's break it all down across all the layers that are present in the story itself. The reason why Ryu is the perfect opponent for Sarada's Mangekyou to debut, Ryu's power level, it is high. He is stronger than Code, which means he's stronger than Jigen. He possesses an existential threat. Unlike Hidari, who Boruto and Sarada were able to defeat as a team, Ryu's strength, it may necessitate Sarada tapping into her Mangekyou Sharingan, especially if she has to fight him for an extended period alone. The desert setting allows Sarada to fully unleash her powers without collateral damage that might have occurred inside of a more populated area like we saw in Konoha. You also have to look at the parallel with Shinki. So Ryu is made from Shinki's chakra, and Sarada has a history of decisively losing to Shinki in the Chunin exams. This fight could serve as a poetic justice for Sarada to overcome a foe linked to her past failure. Granted, that was anime only, but it is something that you could look at. It also symbolizes her growth, not just in power, but also in mental fortitude. Also, you have to look at it from this perspective: trauma awakens strength, something that Sarada knows all too well. Sarada awakened her Mangekyou Sharingan during the traumatic fallout of the omnipotence being used. She thought Naruto was dead, Boruto was being hunted down for a murder he never committed, and she awakened her Mangekyou Sharingan out of trauma by facing Ryu, a being who is ridden with immense bloodlust. In a moment of high emotional stakes, it aligns with the themes of the Mangekyou Sharingan itself. It's a power born from grief. It is a power born from pain. It is a power that reflects the heart of the individual. The symbolism that also comes with Sarada battling Ryu alongside Mitsuki is something that you can't overlook either. So you have the magnet release connection. Ryu's magnet release, it echoes the battles that their parents faced against Sasori. Sasori used a puppet that had magnet release, symbolizing danger and manipulation. Sarada and Mitsuki fighting Ryu symbolizes their ability to overcome adversaries that their parents once faced, but in their own unique way. In the case of Mitsuki, his parent lost decisively, and in the case of Sarada, her parent was able to defeat Sasori, but it was with help. Sarada's sun-patterned Mangekyou Sharingan is the next thing you have to look at. So the Mangekyou Sharingan sun-like design, it ties into the name of Sarada herself. Sarada can mean salad, which that is what typically everyone translates it to be, especially going back to 2014. Everyone thought, hey, why is Sasuke's kid named Salad or Salada? The same way people would say Boruto's name was Bolt because it's a pun. And phonetically, it echoes Sara, meaning sky or sacred. The sun is also a Shinto symbol of divine protection. It ties into her role as a defender of Konoha. It's not just because the members of the Uchiha clan that we've seen from Sarada's family have Amaterasu when they awaken the Mangekyou Sharingan. It also goes back to her name itself. This is why you'll hear me say repeatedly, despite what some people say on YouTube, there is thought that goes into the names of some of the Boruto characters. Fighting Ryu, an embodiment of unrestrained power and chaos, it reflects her role as a light of justice amidst darkness. Mitsuki, on the other hand, he represents the moon. Mitsuki represents the moon in the scenario, complementing Sarada's sun. Mitsuki is someone who has always been looking for someone to illuminate him. Boruto's gone, but Sarada, on the other hand, would be able to illuminate him in that battle because she has a sun patterned Mangekyou Sharingan. Their teamwork, it mirrors the duality of yin and yang. It is a core concept in Buddhism and Shintoism, emphasizing balance and harmony. Ryu is born from Shinki's chakra. That introduces the idea of a magnetic polarity, reinforcing the interplay between the opposites. This is why when you go back to Boruto Naruto Next Generations chapter 69, when Sarada and Mitsuki both say that they have to get stronger to fight against Otsutsuki, that's why those two needed to be together when they said it. You also have to look at it from this perspective too. Matsuri's name also plays a role in this, as well as a leading bridge to Ryu's potential anger that comes. So the Shinto festival symbolism comes into play when you look at Matsuri's name. Matsuri means festival, and it connects to the Shinto traditions of celebration, community, and unity. Her betrayal by Konohamaru, it would represent a violation of trust and harmony, which in turn would invoke Ryu's anger as a figure that is shown being very close towards Matsuri. This adds a emotional depth to Ryu's reaction, and it would justify why Sarada would have to use her Mangekyou Sharingan. That's why when you look at some of the fan translations, when they were talking about Matsuri and they translated as the springtime festival, spring sunlight, all that was done intentionally. Sarada representing the sun also comes into play because Sarada stepping in to confront Ryu symbolizes her role as a force to restore harmony, symbolized by Matsuri's name, assuming that is a trigger to it. That is also why Sarada had to awaken her Mangekyou Sharingan looking up into Sasuke, because she was restoring that situation to get someone to help Boruto. Again, none of this is by mistake. The deeper understanding you have of Shintoism, Taoism, and Buddhism, the more you really appreciate what's being written in both Naruto and Boruto. It's not so much that there are plot holes, quote unquote, so much as there are cultural nuances that are sprinkled into the story in both series that we as Western fans don't catch unless you extensively study those aspects of the writing, especially Naruto. Her Mangekyou Sharingan sun pattern, it aligns with the idea of light illuminating the truth and dispelling shadows of betrayal. When you get into the Shinto and Buddhism connections, it runs even deeper. So again, Sarada, that's the sun. In Shinto, the sun goddess Amaterasu represents life, order, and justice, paralleling Sarada's role as a guiding light in the chaos that was following omnipotence. Hence why if anyone says that Sarada's Mangekyou Sharingan awakening was underwhelming or it was a plot hole or anything like that, it shows that respectfully, that's surface level reading, and they don't have a true grasp on what was being done here, because both of these franchises, Naruto and Boruto, draw heavily from Buddhism. It is sprinkled into the story. It's just not spoon-fed in Boruto. But thankfully, those of you guys here on the channel, you guys all know that. So Mitsuki, he represents the moon, which in Buddhism signifies enlightenment, reflection, and being calm amongst the turmoil. His sage mode, it underscores his transcendence of human limitations when you think about it. Ryu, on the other hand, this is where it gets very interesting. Ryu's name can be derived from the word meaning dragon. It just comes down to how you translate it. I know that some of the translator notes that are out there have it meaning like grain of sand, but when you put like that mark above the U, it would come out to be dragon. In Shinto and Buddhism in particular, when you get into some of the studies, Dragons, they symbolize power, unpredictability, and a guardian of treasures or sacred sites. Look at where they're going right now. Sarada and company are going to where Gar has been held basically hostage because he's trapped inside of that cocoon. Ryu wants to kill him. That's basically a treasure, if you will. That is why Ryu being sent to that area is so symbolic. Ryu's bloodlust, it contrasts Sarada and Mitsuki's more balanced approach, reinforcing the need for harmony, especially because they're trying to rescue Gaara and also rescue Shinki by destroying Ryu and restoring Shinki to what he was. But when we do look at all of this, we do also have to open ourselves up to the possibility that there will be a sparing of the Mangekyou Sharingan being used here. Now, that's something that some of you guys don't want to hear, but hear me out for a second. So the narrative reasoning, it is there. If Sarada doesn't use her Mangekyou Sharingan in this fight, it can serve as a reminder of the Mangekyou Sharingan's curse, which is overuse leads to blindness. Like I said, when people said, why didn't she use it against the claw grimes? She's not a dummy like her father who burned out his Mangekyou Sharingan extremely quickly. Saving her Mangekyou Sharingan powers for critical moments, it adds weight to the eventual deployment that we see. This should be a trump card, not something that you use like a blinding, bubbling idiot like her father was. Teamwork is also a theme. A team battle where Sarada, Mitsuki, and Yodo and Araya cooperate to defeat Ryu, it would align with Boruto's recurring theme of camaraderie, which is inherited from Naruto. But again, haters will tell you there's nothing carried over from Naruto. And this is why you don't read the story with your fucking eyes closed. This teamwork-based solution and resolution, it reflects the series' emphasis on unity and shared strength. This is part of the reason why fans should not be upset if the Mangekyou is not used in this fight. As much as I want to see it used, I am also open to the fact that it might not be used. It is a strategic conservation. Mangekyou Sharingan powers are again a double-edged sword. Delaying its use, it underscores Sarada's actually being strategic. She has grown and she understands the consequences of overusing it. There's no way she does not know what happens when you spam the Mangekyou Sharingan. I find it very hard to believe Sasuke left the village without telling her that and telling her what her eyes were. I find it hard to believe that someone like Kakashi or Sakura wouldn't have done the same thing. You also get into the character synergy that has to be kind of brought into play here. So showcasing teamwork, it elevates the narrative by emphasizing cooperation over individual heroics, which this is something very important right here. And it's something that all the people mad that Sarada has team battles really need to take a step back and think for a second. Sarada's leadership in coordinating the team fight, it highlights her Hokage-like qualities. Because as we've been told, the Hokage, yes, you're supposed to be extremely strong and etc., but the Hokage, which Sarada is, but the Hokage also has to be someone acknowledged by others and someone that others gravitate towards and someone who is able to inspire people in the heat of a battle and take charge in that leadership position. In order to lead, one must know how to be part of a team. This is also something that has a long-term payoff. By sparing the Mangekyou, the story, it builds anticipation for a moment where its use is absolutely necessary. This makes it a eventual debut that's going to be very impactful should it be done correctly. In conclusion, I'll say this. Sarada's battle against Ryu, it is rich with narrative and symbolic layers. Whether she uses Mangekyou Sharingan or not, the fight, it highlights her growth. It highlights Mitsuki's evolution. It highlights the themes of teamwork and balance that are central to Boruto. It highlights the sun and moon aspect with Sarada and Mitsuki's characters. The Shinto and Buddhism connections, it further deepens the cultural resonance of their roles in what could be this very chaotic and climactic confrontation that eventually leads to harmony. And that's something that cannot be understated because of one of the core themes of Boruto, being able to break free of one's familiar bonds and expectations. Sarada going the opposite route of her father by having held out for as long as she has and using Mangekyou Sharingan, That's taking a step towards her doing the opposite of her father and becoming a Hokage. If you enjoyed this video, obviously consider subscribing. Click here to watch this Sarada video essay that breaks down her character. Editor did a good job on that video. And also consider watching this other video from my Anime Explained channel where I discuss non-Naruto content.